Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the January school board meeting. I hope everyone has had a great start to the year 2020. New beginnings, fresh starts, the second half of the school year. Excited to be here and get started. Board, you've had the agenda for the meeting for tonight. Any questions, changes? Dr. Rollins, anything we need to add?
Mr. President, the agenda would stand as presented.
I make a motion that we accept the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Cook, and Mike, we have a second by Mrs. Creek. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Board, you've also had the minutes from the previous meeting. Any comments, questions, or corrections to the minutes of the previous meeting?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Emerson and a second by Mr. Ramos to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? This is the time of the meeting where we welcome any comments from the patrons, community members. Anyone is welcome to come to the podium, state your name, discuss your question, comment, or concern. Just understand we can't take any action on it tonight, but we'd love to hear from anyone in the audience. Okay, Dr. Rollins.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, help me invite our student representative from Springdale High School, Tramell T.J. Sanders, Jr. Tramell will lead us in the pledge, and then I'll introduce him in a more formal way. Welcome, Tramell.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tramell, we're very glad to have you with us this evening. I was looking at your information. You're a busy young man, and we're
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
appreciative of all that. That's great. Tramell is a senior this year, again at Springdale High School. His parents are Tramell Sanders Sr. and Renata McKelvin. TJ is a candidate for the Distinguished International Baccalaureate Diploma. And if you have time this evening, talk to us about that as well. He's president of the Springdale High School Student Council. He has a cumulative grade point average of 4.1 and is a member of the National Honor Society. He's also a member of the Spanish Honor Society and recently earned the Arkansas Seal of Biliteracy in Spanish. TJ was elected as a state representative for the 2019 Arkansas Boys State event. He's attended George Elementary School and Lakeside Junior High. He's a ninth grader, or as a ninth grader, participated in the Springdale Junior Leadership Council program. After graduating from Springdale High School in May, he will pursue his undergraduate degree in biology, the pre-medical sciences at Oklahoma State University. He hopes to become an emergency room physician. We are very glad to have you this evening. I know the board would welcome your comments.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the board for allowing me to be here in front of y'all today. I really appreciate the opportunity. I want to get a little into about the IB program and what's in store for me through the IB program. So the IB program is like a very rigorous program, and it really gives you a heads up of what college life is going to be like, and it really gets you prepared and really gets you to build those skills that you're really going to need in college, like whether to time management, whether to manage your tasks, like if you have this deadline coming up, when to get them done. And so I really feel like the IB program is a really good program that that SHS has at SHS to offer to students, and it's really going to help me in my future career to become a emergency room physician, because it's always been a passion of mine, because my mom, she's a RNA, and she works in the medical field, and I really look up to her just because there's so many opportunities and there's so many different levels of that you can move up and like really obtain like what you want to become, and just further like improve your occupation. And so I enjoy helping people around the community, and I enjoy helping others, and that's why I wanted to become an emergency room physician. And I hope to pursue that through going to Oklahoma State University. Oklahoma State University, I say that because it's a very prestigious medical school. It's not really one of those like top like Harvard or Georgetown, but it's really one of those affordable medical programs that I really feel can give me a leg up in the competition of becoming an emergency room physician.
Kevin, if you don't mind, I'm just curious, so what caused you to pursue the IB program at Springdale High School? Why'd you do that?
So I decided to go into the IB program because I feel like it sets me apart from other people applying to the same scholarships, to the same colleges that I'm applying to. And I feel like through the IB program, it really sets me apart because you get put through those hard classes, those tougher classes, those harder level classes that really that already gives you an experience like in college. So you've been through the classes, you know how it goes, so you're more prepared than other people who are attending and applying to the same scholarships at college you are.
Does Oklahoma State automatically give you some college credit because of the IB background you've got, or do you know that yet, all of that?
I do not know that, but I know they do give IB credits if you score a certain score on your exams. So if you score a 4 in biology or like a 4 in psychology, and you're going to major in one of those, then therefore they will give you hours, taking off money from your tuition to get you in those.
Taking off money from your tuition. Parents like to hear that. That's great.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's probably in the notes. Have you attended school your entire career?
Yes, I
in
have.
Springdale? So,
Oh, no, not my entire career.
So what was your first school here,
My first school here was George Elementary.
George? Okay. And then you progressed through,
From second to third grade, I was in George Elementary, and then third grade I moved to Oklahoma, and then returned back to Springdale my 8th grade year.
okay.
Glad you came back.
We hope you come back again after you're a doctor.
Oh, for sure.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask, have you enjoyed being student council president?
Oh, yes, this is like one of my most favorite memories so far here at SHS. I really enjoy all the different people that come and actually want to help out and be a part of those, especially because our main job is doing the pep rallies, and so I enjoy like creating different artwork and just really entertaining the student body, because the student body, like people, like I know like not everyone's favorite thing to do is come to school, get up at 8 a.m. every morning, come to school. So like I try to be that light to those kids and like make them laugh through like a game or do a fun obstacle course. It's just really something like get the kids involved and really like show them like that school isn't just all just like paperwork and all that. You can actually have fun here at school.
So do you have your parents here?
Yes, my mother is here. Mother, you mind standing up for me?
Well, we're honored to have you here tonight.
Thank you.
Super proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
School board members, ladies and gentlemen, our state recognizes the service of school board members, honors school board members during the month of January. Obviously, we've got a room full of great kids and teachers and parents here this evening. I'm going to give each of you an opportunity with your applause. Please thank our board for their service. Will you do that? Mr. President, there are a number of proclamations, including a proclamation from our governor in tonight's agenda. But I think what you're about to see is something that will really be special to each of you. We have a very special video of our kids bringing their sentiments to you this evening. Can we see this?
Someday I hope to be a fashion designer.
Someday I hope to be a basketball player.
Someday I hope to be a doctor for kids. I hope to be an ice cream man. In the army. Doctor. Be a children's author. Someday.
Algún día quiero ser un policía.
Someday I hope to be a teacher. As a public school student.
As a public school student.
As a public school student. As a public school student. Have the tools I need. The tools I need. I have the tools I need.
To achieve my goals.
To achieve my goals. I have the tools I need. To achieve my goals.
I have
The tools I need.
I need to achieve my goal.
I also have seven school board members. I have 7 school board members.
Working.
Working to ensure my success. Working to ensure my success.
My success.
Working to ensure my success.
Thank you.
Nick Emerson. Thank you. Kevin OMB. Thank you. Michelle Cook. Thank you. Mike Luttrell.
Thank you, Debbie Creek.
Thank you.
Gracias, Eddie Ramos.
Thank you, Randy Hutchinson. Thank you. We thank you for believing in us.
Damos gracias que crees en nosotros. We thank you for
Believing in us.
Well, yes, I'm glad you felt that way because I did too the first time I saw it. That was created for you by the Sonora Elementary School East students and Mr. Worthy and Dr. Regina Stuman. I didn't see any of them here tonight, so I don't think they're here, but that was a gift to you all from Sonora Elementary School East on behalf of all of us who appreciate everything that you do for us, for giving us the tools we need to succeed in life. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you very much.
That was great. Better than any proclamation you can read. And to conclude,
Mr. Donnell, if you'd come forward, please. We have some great partners we want to recognize this evening. And Board, as we say so often, our school district is built on partnerships. Damon, we look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Board. Thank you, Dr. Rollins. Today, I'm here to recognize 3 of our outstanding community partners. One of the pillars of the Springdale School District is partnerships, and I'd like to recognize that. Having great partners allows us one more way to support kids academically and socially. And the first community partner that I'd like to recognize today is Mr. Trent Rager. Is Trent here today? Come on up, Mr. Rager. Before I go into, I'd like to give you a little backstory on this. I think the backstory is always the most important part. And the backstory is this. I went to a conference and I learned about a student who was not sleeping. And I like to talk about my inside voice, who was sleeping at school. And my inside voice was saying, I wonder why this kid's sleeping all day. Somebody asked the question why the kid's sleeping all day. And so then my outside voice said, why is the kid sleeping all day? There's got to be a reason why this kid's sleeping all day. And the counselor said, well, because, and she said, there's an infestation at the home and the student has to sleep in the living room because he's trying to escape that infestation, okay? I mean, it broke my heart. I got 2 kids of my own, and it really broke my heart. I left that meeting. I immediately went to my office, I called Natural State Pest Control, and I said, I need your help. Trent Rager said, what do I need to do? A few days later, maybe 3 days later, problem solved. I've checked back in on that student, and we talked about how community partnerships can support kids academically and socially. Well, that kid is now no longer sleeping in school. He's doing much, much better in school now, and it's all because of community partners like Trent Rager, who provided that service. I'd like to give Trent the opportunity just to say a couple of words about that.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Rollins, for having me here tonight and the board. We're a locally owned business right here in Lowell, and we've had multiple employees that are graduates of Springdale High School and Harbor High School. So got the call, immediately jumped on it, said, what can we do to help? And the fact that we can help a child, have a good night's rest and be ready to learn at school next day, I think that's pretty much the definition of job fulfillment. So we're blessed to be able to do it, and we appreciate the opportunity, and we've got some other things we're working on as well, so pretty excited about it.
I'm going to say our community partners, I've talked to Trent about this a lot, is that we don't want to just be takers on community partners. We want to be givers also. And so as part of that, it's led to a possible internship possibility from DTSOI students for that business back and forth. And we're working on that right now with Kelly Bortz, and hopefully we can make that materialize. So again, I want to recognize Mr. Trent Rager for being a great community partner in Springdale Public Schools. Next, I'd like to recognize Mr. Terry Clark. He's the owner of Area Burger Kings. And Mr. Clark he actually attended a meeting in Fayetteville, and he heard of the great work. We're trying to form partnerships with social workers in Fayetteville and Bentonville and Rogers, and then learn. Dr. Rollins terms this as capacity building. I totally agree with that. We had Bentonville social workers this past Wednesday at our PLC, and we learned from them. Hopefully they learned from us, and we learned about getting better at getting better. He heard some of the work that we were doing, called me, asked for a meeting. We sat down together, shared about the work. I believe we have some of the best social workers in the state of Arkansas. I truly believe that. Who are doing great things every day in the schools. Shared our vision and mission, what we'd like to do for kids. 2 days later, Mr. Clark delivered just a check on my desk for $5,000 to support the work of social workers in the Springdale Public Schools. That money will be used for clothing, school supplies, counseling, medical appointments, community resources, and much, much more. So even though Mr. Clark could not be here tonight, I wanted to take the opportunity to recognize him and just say thank you for that wonderful donation that's going to go a long ways for kids and families. So I'd like to recognize Mr. Terry Clark. Last but not least, Miss Beth Davies, are you here? Miss Beth Davies, come on up. So Miss Beth Davies has partnered with Springdale Schools for many years now, and for Fit Families to provide Christmas. I hope I got this right, but last year we were able to provide around 300 families Christmas. This year it was over 400 families that we were able to provide Christmas, and that included families whose houses burned down, who lost homes for different circumstances. So that was a really fantastic thing, and I truly believe it goes right in line with that, providing kids that academic and social success also. I'd like to give you just a few moments to address the board also.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rollins, and to the board for just recognizing this, but it really is a thank you that goes to many, many people that aren't here, and the heart behind it isn't actually about recognition. It really is about these kids. They're in the most difficult of circumstances, and when the opportunity began several years ago, we didn't realize it was going to grow like it has, but the people in the group of givers, their heart is to love and serve the community of Springdale, and we are so incredibly grateful that you trust us to partner with you. We know it's rare. We appreciate the investment in finding children's sizes and what the social workers did, the counselors, to help us give back. And that is something that he is exactly right, Mr. Donnell is, about the best social workers. Really incredible what they did. We had delivered wrapped gifts, around 1,500, that they had delivered to all the schools within about 3 days' time, and got that home. So on December 25th, the children did receive, from toddlers all the way up to high school, did receive their gifts, but we believe wholeheartedly that beyond helping that day be joyful and beyond lifting the stress from parents, it reminds these kids that they are loved and they are valued by people that don't even know them. And that is the heart behind this program for us. And we know it's your heart to love and serve kids. That's why you sit here. And so thank you for that, and thank you for the partnership. And we just hope that you'll continue to allow us to come alongside you and do what we can to help you, help these kids, like in the video, achieve and be successful in their future. So thank you.
Thank you again, Dr. Rollins and the board. I hope this is one of many times that we can recognize community partners and talk about partnerships that we're building, not only giving, but also the taking piece, but also giving back. And hopefully this is just the beginning of a great thing. So thank you all.
It's a pleasure for me to invite our principal of the Don Tyson School of Innovation, Ms. Kelly Bortz, who has a very special recognition that she wants to share.
Dr. Rollins and School Board, it is my pleasure to introduce Lucas Keller. Lucas is a sophomore at Don Tyson School of Innovation. It's his first year there. And Lucas is living out the Don Tyson School of Innovation vision of advanced, accelerated college and industry. I wrote down everything that Lucas is doing because I couldn't remember all of it without having it written down, and I knew that he wouldn't share all this, so I'm going to share it for him. He is involved in AP classes. He takes concurrent classes. He takes drones. He is in the computer science pathway. And he has bypassed computer science 1, 2, 3, and 4, shown mastery. So as a sophomore, he is enrolled in an independent study for computer science. So, you know, he is definitely excelling academically, but also in some of those pathways that we have at Don Tyson School of Innovation. Lucas represents Don Tyson School of Innovation in the District Leadership Forum that you will hear about tonight from Jack Snally. And recently, he was recognized by Congressman Womack because he partnered with another student and won the Congressional App Challenge. And so I'm not going to tell you about the App Challenge because I wouldn't be able to. So I'm going to turn it over to Lucas to share about that.
Hi. So about mid last year, around summertime, I was on Fayetteville's website, because I'm a Fayetteville resident, and I found this list of all the 911 calls in our city. And I looked at it, and it was kind of useless to me, because it had, you know, locations like addresses and what the call was, but I couldn't really get a good sense of what was happening in my area just by looking at this list. And so I kind of thought, you know, this would be cool to improve upon. And then me and a friend who attends Haas Hall in Fayetteville were at the J.B. Hunt Hackathon in October, and they had a theme, and there was safety. So in 16 hours, we had to build some sort of computer thing relating to safety. And so we built an application that takes Fayetteville's 911 calls, grabs them all, you know, stores them, and then allows people to go to a website and see on a map all the calls, and, you know, filtered by like severity and icons, so you can tell like easily what this was. And then, we built that. And then we found out about the Congressional App Challenge, where students can submit any kind of programming application, anything at all. And all they have to do is make a YouTube video kind of explaining it. And so we submitted that, and we recently won. We're honored for that. And we're continuing to work on it. We are actually adding Springdale within hopefully in the next few days, so we can, you know.
So can we
Yes.
see the app?
Yeah, sorry, it's available online.
What's it called?
Crime Map. It is at. Do you want me to give you the address, or I can? Okay.
You tell me.
What's
Okay.
easier for us to find?
L Keller, so LKELLAR.org/maps should bring it up.
You did this in
16 hours.
Yes, sir. Overnight.
You're sick. I couldn't do that in 16 years.
Thank you.
16 hours to put my passcode in.
That's awesome.
And we've refined it a bit. You know, we've touched up, but most of it was done during that period.
So the city's on board with you, they think it's,
The city hasn't exactly done anything. They have this data publicly available. We're just taking it and
You borrowed it.
borrowing it. Yes. Yeah.
you've embarrassed them. is what you're saying. That's
So
great.
what's your long-term goals? I mean, what do you want? Like, you're already, doing
Right.
some amazing things, so what do you want to do in the future?
I intend to graduate, right, and then go to college and get some sort of degree, probably in computer science, maybe bachelor's or master's, and then do software engineering as a profession.
that's what you
Right.
So do you attend the school or are you on virtual?
I attended school.
You
Yes,
attend the
sir.
school, and you live in Fayetteville,
I live in Fayetteville, yes, sir. I drive up.
and you made a choice to come
I switched to the school district, yes, sir.
because,
Well, because my only other option really was Fayetteville High School, because we only have one high school, right?
right,
And they didn't have as much of the advanced classes and the flexibility that SOI has. I can take college classes and computer science classes, and Fayetteville just didn't have anything like that. And so we were looking around, and we had a friend who came here in 9th grade, and he was like, just look into this. It's also half the drive to Fayetteville High School. So.
Are you planning to graduate early? I mean, you're on track, it seems like.
Not currently. I think I'm not really sure yet. I haven't thought about it too much, but
You're gonna have to find some more computer classes.
right. I may try interning or interning for maybe part of the time in the later years to fill out that time.
It's exciting.
it's too exciting stuff. yeah. Thanks for making the choice to come to Don Tyson School of Innovation. And your parents here?
His parents.
Thank you.
Lucas, that's really very special. We're really proud of you. Family, thank you so much. Mr. Davis, will you come down and join us? And Ms. Harshaw, you want to bring your team down and stand with him? I think that'd be great. Ty, we'll let your team members join you here.
All right. Well, my name's Ty Davis, and I'm thankful for this opportunity to tell you about my experience this past summer. You can see from the pictures, I got to go to Google for 3 days in New York, and it was such an amazing experience. And that's where, when I went through this whole process, one thing I always thought, like Dr. Rollins, I've heard him say, like, we have an educational system that causes people to look at us from across the nation and beyond. And that's something that really meant a lot to me when I became an educator here. And that's where, like, here's the badge. And when I got to go to New York, wearing this, and it said Springdale School, and talking to everyone and telling them, and I was proud to be from Springdale and be an educator from here. So that's what I'm just real thankful for, that opportunity. And it wouldn't have been possible unless the board making decisions to support educators, teachers, and students. So I'm really thankful. I knew the reason I was there because of you all in this school district. So to explain how this happened, like in 2016, because of the Race to the Top, we were able to buy Google Expedition. So some of you may remember here, we had the 360 virtual reality goggles we set up here, looked at some different things. So that was like the first year that we had it, 2016. So myself and other technology integration specialists, Mickey, Laura, Shauna, we helped promote that and get it across to teachers across the district. Because as you can see in the top left picture, in a moment you can have 30 kids virtually in a different environment, whether it be undersea, in a jungle, take them on a career to see NASA. There's different scenes. So it was a really cool technology. And so part of one of the Race to the Top Project 7 goals was to track technology usage. So I kept track of what teachers used it, and then over time so I started collecting a survey using Google Forms, and I sent it to all those teachers that utilized the software or utilized this in their classrooms, and then they took the time and they forwarded that survey on to their students. By the time, this was like a 2-month period, and so when that was done, we had about 700 students from 2nd grade to 12th grade fill out this form about their learning experience. And it was cool to see that 70% of the kids said their first time using virtual reality was in the Springdale School District, and it helped them learn something new. And so I did that, part of Race to the Top, to show our data and that we were using things that we were buying, and I thought that was important, and I wanted to have that data to keep potentially buy more. And so I made this report. It talked about all our different charts, quantitative, qualitative data, impact, how it all happened. I gave it to all administrators, and I was like, I wonder if I could, what would happen if I sent it to Google? And so I just found their address, put it in the mail, and about 2 months later, I got an email saying, hey, let's chat. And so that's what started this, and then from there, just started communicating back and forth with them, and they would like, hey, if you see people post on these message boards, give feedback, how to better use these products. So like, I'm hoping if a teacher posts a question on a board, I'm like, hey, you should try this. This is what worked for us. You know, this is how we did it. And so from that, you know, it just kind of grew from one step. And then they said, hey, you're a product expert. I'm like, okay. And so part of that was getting to go to New York. And so it was a 3-day event. We just sat in a lot of different classrooms. You can see on the bottom left, and there was about 30 educators, K-12, higher ed, a couple different countries were there. And as of right now, we meet like once a month, and they say, hey, here's some things coming out soon. Like, you can educate teachers about these things, or how to promote certain products, or a lot of things they want feedback from us and teachers, and to say like, what do you think about how this looks? Like, what will this be confusing for teachers? So it's really fun just to kind of be a part of it, and there'll be another one. They said they'll have another one of these this year, probably in a different city. And that's where I think one of my favorite pictures for this whole 3 or 4 year journey is like, in the upper left, you could see, you know, those are kids at J.L. Kelly. They were the first kids to use this. And then lower right is, I'm standing at the Google offices, like on one of their top floors, and I had one of the workers there, her name was Ellen, I was like, can you go take a picture with me with my computer open? This may be kind of weird, but on the laptop is like that same picture. Because I just knew like the reason I was there was because of the kids and what we did for them. So that's kind of what it was all about. So I'm just so thankful to be a part of it and be a teacher here in Springdale.
One of the terms we talk about all the time is networking. Sounds to me like you had a great opportunity to begin to stretch and expand your network as opposed to this experience.
Yeah, and that's what we meet once a month with those 30 same educators, and it grows, and so it's constantly neat to reach out and connect with those people. And then, you know, that's the thing, is one thing I'm proud of is that same Google Expedition kit. I've seen it being used in schools, so 3 or 4 years later, it's still in use. And Harbor has bought one from the positive experience, and then recently J.L. Kelly just bought one. So it's something that like it's grown and developed, and educators see the benefits of having it, because in an instant you can take 30 kids and get them in a virtual reality and to learn from those experiences. So
that's great.
I think it's really special when you can have your working team come and join you.
Yeah, they surprised me, so I'm real thankful they're here.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Mr. Jones, telling the Springdale story has to be one of the most exciting positions in our district. Please come and share the work of our communications department.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, school board. Dr. Rollins. Thank you for the opportunity to share this great work produced by the Springdale Schools Media Department across our district. Very proud to be able to tell our story and have students be the ones doing that. The media teams are led by the communication team, Rick Schaefer, Amanda Thadanakum, Seth Biazzo, Dustin Mapes, and myself. We have a wonderful district AV team, Stephen Lightfoot, Chris Button, and Kyle Fowler. And these teams help build and support a larger team led by our video productions classrooms, which is Harbor Video Productions, Travis Sherman, Don Tyson Video Productions, Craig Pasquenzo, Springdale High School's Rochelle Nichols, Central Junior High's Dana Wright, Lakeside Junior High's Van Stuman. And in addition to our classroom video productions, we have content partners, which is really cool. I don't know if any other schools across the state are doing what we're doing. We have teams that produce fine arts videos in their schools. We have media managers and student publicators, totaling a team of over 50 people who capture events and tell stories all across our district and upload to our YouTube channel and social media channels daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. And I'm thankful today to have the opportunity to stand in front of you and share with you some really impressive numbers, I think. If you want to look at the graphic, you can. Our YouTube numbers from July 1st until the end of December, we uploaded 230 videos to the Springdale Schools YouTube channel. We had 125 live events. This is just YouTube. We had 500,000 views just on YouTube. That doesn't include all of the numbers we get on Facebook and our other platforms. I thought this was really interesting. 81% of our viewers are 18 to 44 years old, with the largest demographic being 18 to 24. So I thought that was kind of neat. That just shows you that the young people are really plugging in and watching our story, which is good for sustainability in our community as well. Event production, which I'm very, very proud of. The Springdale Schools Communications Office produced 5 events that hosted nearly 20,000 attendees. We produced the District Faculty Red Carpet, the Back to School Rally, Ozark Media Arts Festival, Christmas on the Creek, and the Parade of the Ozarks. I hope you guys got to watch that live stream. That was fun. And then we had 2 nights of caroling on the creek, which totaled about 5,000 attendees in downtown Springdale. And the partnership between our businesses, our city, and the Springdale school system, we helped lead 3 consecutive weekends in downtown Springdale with over 2,000 attendees over the holiday season, which was pretty good. Then we also do live event production. This last semester, we produced over 40 athletic events, totaling 150,000 views, which took over 30-plus students to work these events from Harbor TV, Springdale High School East program, and CJHS TV. Interestingly enough, Central Junior High is the only junior high in the state of Arkansas live streaming anything for that matter, but live streaming athletics, which is really cool that we have junior high kids out there. And then what this is really near and dear to me, we have live fine arts, which not a lot of people do. From our Performing Arts Center and elementary music performances, we captured live and videoed over 100 events, including 60 elementary performances. 40 events were covered in the Performing Arts Center with over 100,000 views. And some of our high-profile videos that we produced this semester that got over 50,000, 70,000 views was the With One Step documentary about Arkan Langenbellick. That's been really met with great praise. We're very, very proud of that. And then the Roots video, interestingly enough, that we made for the Back to School Rally has been viewed 20,000 times. So that's kind of exciting to be from a public school system and get those kind of really impressive numbers. And I wanted to stand here and just say thank you to each of you for helping us have these amazing semesters. We had so much fun. Yes, sir.
On the YouTube, are we big enough, are we able to monetize that anyway?
We do, but we're not so big that we're able to make big amounts of money off of it. I mean, we make maybe about $100 a quarter. So, and a lot of that is because you can make a lot of money on one video that gets millions of views. We have hundreds of videos that combined get millions of views. Yeah. So, I mean, as soon as Walker News Network breaks that million, you know. Is there any other questions or comments?
So does anybody ever have to ask if you like what you do?
Yeah. We love it.
Okay. Couldn't tell.
Yeah, we have a good time.
Okay.
No doubt about it. And thank you. Again, we mean that. We all have a really good time, and thank you for letting us tell your story. Thank you.
Good job. Creating a culture of innovation and personalized learning really is spreading across all 1,800-plus teachers and their work in this district. And this room is full of people tonight who are experiencing that. We've got a major school of innovation that's a model for the nation, in my opinion. And tonight, Michelle, we're bringing that focus here, and you've got some great young people for our focus session to help us build our understanding.
I do.
Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to showcase our work tonight. As you can see, I know you're very familiar with the Springdale Public Schools staircase of educational excellence. Tonight, we're going to be talking about applying our learning. I know we are going to refer to Don Redrick's 6 building blocks of innovation. In previous sessions, I know that you have learned about collaborative, task-orientated, daring, and relevant innovations. Tonight, we are going to focus on reflective innovations. What's reflective innovations? Well, I can tell you this, everybody needs to reflect. Reflecting helps us affirm our thinking practices, it helps improve our work, and most importantly, it helps us clear up misconceptions and mistakes in our work. And before we get started, I want to remind you that we have these lovely little cards for you to write your questions, if you have them. Our first presentation on reflective practices will be from Shaw. Miss Shelley Bewley, will you come to the podium?
Hello, glad to be here tonight. Guess I'm on our right page. I'm Shelley Bewley. I'm the assistant principal representing Shaw, and I brought with me a team that I'll introduce in a second. But tonight we're going to talk to you about how we've tried to use reflection in our school. And our school, we feel like, has a culture of reflective practices through our teacher professional learning communities, through our personalization of learning for students and goal setting. But we've also tried to take besides the academic component of reflection and into that intrinsic piece of reflective practices through our social emotional learning, through conscious discipline, our morning meetings that we're having with students each day. And we've created an innovative practice through our enrichment time, and it's a collaboration between our school counselor and our music teacher, and they're going to tell you a little bit about our project. And this is Mrs. Katie Jenkins, our school counselor, and Ms. Alex Franco, our music teacher. Hi, I'm Katie Jenkins. I'm the school counselor at Shaw Elementary. As our teachers reflected on our student learning and looked at which students needed interventions and which students needed enrichment opportunities, I partnered with Alex Franco, our music teacher, to give some of our students an opportunity for enrichment that didn't need academic intervention. So in the morning, all of our students participate in either intervention or enrichment. So we created what we called a first and second grade choir, and then looked at the students that were put in that group and chose some goals for them. So we chose to focus on self-management and self-awareness. This was first and second graders, so that's obviously something that they're all developing and working on. Alex introduced me to the Quaver program, which has a social and emotional learning component. This is a program that I believe all of our elementary schools have access to and is used in our music curriculum, but we chose to utilize the social and emotional curriculum. This is just a snippet of the reflective practices that the students are participating in at the end of each Quaver lesson. So we would teach a lesson when they would come in, and then we would reflect, and then some of the days we taught them a song that we chose that we felt like kind of melded all those things together. Oh. Let's see. Am I able to click?
It's easy to get overwhelmed when many things are going on. Let's reflect on what we've learned. Reflect means to think about one more time. Before we reflect, let's take a moment to get our bodies still and our voices quiet.
Okay, here's an example of a student responding to some of the reflection questions.
I feel stressed when me and my mom always forget my stuff to bring to school.
What did you say, Evan?
I feel really stressed. It's like my mom really forgetting everything. Like stuff that she does. Kinda. Like literally she makes me clean everything.
And then I asked some of our students some questions specifically about the practice of reflection because that was newer to some of them and it wasn't always easy.
Why do you think it's important that we have time to reflect?
It's important because it gets our body, it gets us in control of our body and it helps us get ready to go back to class.
What do you think is the hardest part about taking time to reflect?
I think the hardest part is to think in your mind and not blurt it out.
Because reflection is personal, so we're trying to teach them that some of it just goes on in your head. And then here's an example of our song that we worked on this year.
Stand up, take a good look in the mirror. Tell me who did you see? Keep your head up, reflect on who you are. You're not you, go back to me. Every feature on your face, you use your eyes, you know your teeth. Always perfect as can be. So sing, I'm brave, I'm strong, I'm loved, I'm smart, and I'm unique. And there's no one else in the whole wide world exactly like me.
Thank you for letting us share. I am excited to be helping kids learn to reflect on who they are as people and as they grow in this world. So I've been excited to be able to do that with our music teacher.
Very good. We saw an example of this at the school board lunch, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you did.
Thank you for not asking my kids what they're interested in.
Well, we saved that video for later. And now I'd like to introduce Miss Patty Athey, and she's going to show up the reflection for Hunt.
Look at these.
Okay, I am so excited to tell you guys just one thing that's going on at Hunt. These boys in front of you were specifically chosen for Mr. Collyer's book club and mentoring program. For the past 2.5 years, they've given up every Friday's lunch and social time to spend time with him. They've read over 10 chapter books. They have book talks and discussions about these books. But more importantly, every week when they come in, they reflect on their week and talk about it with their friends and Mr. Collier. They also have learned about positive character traits and manners and respect. They told me they've learned to respect ladies, adults, and themselves. And to top that off, they have extended their learning by going on field trips. So this is a picture of them on their Friday book club. And then I'm going to let Ms. Emerson talk about each of their field trips each year.
All right, thank you so much for having us. So each year, Mr. Collier and I take the boys on a couple field trips, and they're all relevant, and they always Mr. Collier has chosen field trips that reinforce what they've been reading. And so in third grade, what their big field trip, as you can see the pictures on the screen, they went to the Springdale Municipal Airport after reading a book called The Hatchet. And so they were able to spend a little time getting in a helicopter and getting to see some airplanes, and so that was a really great thing for them. In their big fourth grade field trip, and we were able to allow the boys to go all around the stadium, and they got to see where the players get to do their training and their locker rooms, and they got to eat up in the stands, and Mr. Collier provided everything that a baseball game allows in the refreshment stand. And so he brought peanuts and hot dogs and everything. He allowed them to enjoy everything that kiddos get to, when they go to the ball stadium. And then this year, now that they're fifth grade, the big culminating field trip that they have been talking about and learning about since third grade was the Brandon Burlsworth Trophy Ceremony. And so they got to just attend that last month in December. And so that was something that they had, like Miss Athey had mentioned, they have been talking about every Friday. They reflect about their week and about manners and learning about respect. And so Escar is going to talk a little bit specifically about this last field trip that they got to do this year.
Hi everyone, my name is Escar Calzada. This field trip, we were leading up to this field trip since 3rd grade. We learned about these 3 football players that got nominated to win this award. And one thing I can take from this is that if they were told they weren't good enough, but they proved that they were good enough. And I think I can learn that if I put my mind to something, I can do it.
So we asked each of the boys to really think about and reflect on how being part of this group, how they have personally grown for participating in it. So they're going to introduce themselves and share something about it, okay?
Hello, my name is Perry Lewis, and in the 3rd grade, I had trouble channeling my frustrations. But since I've been in this book club, I really feel like that they've helped me channel my frustrations. One thing that they've taught us is that we have 2 paths, the right path and the wrong path.
Hi, my name is Chase Howard. In 3rd grade, I had problems with relevance. When we were talking about our book or something, I would bring up something random. And now I stay on topic in book club, and that's helped me increase my reading level and listen in class.
Okay. Well, this book club has helped me be more confident and social. I always just imagine myself as just like staying to myself, and now I'm just like opening up. Now I'm reading poems out loud to them.
That's awesome.
Hi, my name is Preston Bocan. When I was in 3rd grade, I used to not talk a lot, but now I feel more confident to talk a lot now.
Hi, my name is George. Wait, can
That's good.
Hi, my name is George. When I joined this book club, I felt like I was the only one thinking outside the box. When Mr. Collier was reading Hatchet, and I learned life lessons. First, one life lesson is that you never give up to reach your goals.
Hello, my name is Christian Limes. At first,
I got to use note cards too, so don't worry about it.
That's why we did them.
Hello, my name is Christian Limes. At first, I did not follow along, but now I'm starting to follow along on the books, and that helped me a lot for my classes. And now I have a goal, and my goal is to be a better reader.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Do you have any questions for the boys?
No other parents here?
I think
Any parents?
Are there any other parents?
Hey, what a great opportunity.
Great. Yeah.
I want to personally thank Mr. Collier here and the staff. I mean, this is a true example of what a good partnership and good school teachers and giving these kids opportunity. I mean, just really stop and reflect what just happened right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time I'm going to introduce Michelle Hutton, the principal at Elmdale Elementary.
Hello, I'm back. I have a great team of fifth grade people here that are going to talk to you about some collaborative work that they do in math, very reflective, student-led collaboration. And I have Mrs. Tiffany Deerenwater here to tell you all about it.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Tiffany Deerenwater. I teach fifth grade. I'm on my tippy toe.
She's on her tippy toe.
I teach fifth grade at Elmdale Elementary. I'm really proud of the progress that my fifth grade students have made this year. It all started, can I push? It all started whenever I decided I wanted to create leadership and leaders in my classroom. And I know that to be a leader, an effective leader, you have to reflect on yourself, and you have to self-reflect and also learn from your mistakes and learn from others. So we started out with just simple things in the classroom at first, but like here's just some examples from the students that they wrote about reflective that we've done so far. We have a student that says it helps us by making us try harder to succeed and look at past mistakes to guide us. We learn from our mistakes, which helps me know to be more careful and not do it again. It helps us by telling or showing us what we made a mistake on, and by seeing what mistake helped or happened, we could try another way to make it work. So reflection was a very vital part of this. And so every day my students come in, they are responsible for getting in their groups. They're responsible for holding themselves accountable and others in their groups. I have seen the reflection work in my classroom because I've seen it in their effort. I've seen it in their classroom work, and I've also seen it in their score, their math scores. 71% of the fifth grade Elmdale students met their MAP growth goal this year in winter, which makes them #1 in growth for our district. And I would like to introduce our team.
Hi, my name is Jada Bledsoe.
Hi, my name is David Caldemes.
Hi, my name is Madarena Chungam. Hi, my name is Maureen Dominguez.
Hi, my name is Aiden Aguilar.
We have a quote at Elmdale that I would like to share with you. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. This quote means that even if you make mistakes, you can learn from them.
At the beginning of the year, we created rules for collaborating. Our rules were not specific, so we reflected and created some group norms. The main rule was pay attention. We didn't really put that much effort into it, so whenever we made our math group norms, we talked about what it meant and what it looks like.
A math group norm is ask questions. It means to learn from your mistakes, and it looks like working it out with your team and asking questions like how did you get that, and showing different strategies and using resources. We did math group norms because we wanted ourselves and our group to be accountable. Every day in our group, we work hard together to find answers to a problem. We each come prepared with strategies to show and questions to ask. For example, some questions we ask each other are, how did you get your answers? What strategy did you use? Why did you do that? And can you explain that to me?
At the beginning of the year, Ms. Deerenwater created our groups based on what our needs. But as we grew on, we reflected off of that, and we were able to create our own groups. We had to look for what we need as a partner, as a team member, and what we provide. And some questions that we had to answer were, what kind of qualities are you looking for in a teammate? Who do you think shows these qualities? What does your team look like while you're working? And what do you offer as a teammate? We have grown so much using reflection strategies in our classroom this year. Unfortunately, we are not able to model any of these strategies today, but you are welcome to join us any day in Ms. Dionwater's math class at 12:55. Thank you.
Thank you.
So really quick behind you, since we can't model them, I took some pictures of the students working collaboratively in their groups, using reflective techniques that we've learned throughout the years. It's just amazing. Like, it really amazes me how much they've grown, and it's just amazing.
I actually heard one child in one of the groups, another child was off task, and this young lady said, let's get back focused, okay? And the other girl, they got right back to work. It's been amazing. I was so proud of them when I walked in and saw them. They were really asking each other questions and having unique, true, real conversations, discussions, and they're fifth graders, and it was amazing. So thank you. Our next presentation will be Central Junior High, and we need Miss...
Are there any parents of these kids?
Yes,
here?
we do have some parents here.
Parents here?
Please stand.
Thank you. Thank you.
Miss Exley, will you join us at this podium?
Thank you. So on behalf of Central Junior High School students and teachers, thanks for having us. And we're here to talk about reflection and how it's impacted our school, but also our community through community service. And that's our focus at Central Junior High tonight, is how has reflection impacted us individually and our school and community by helping our world around us. For example, one of the opportunities that has happened this year is Light Up Central. In December, well, really beginning in November, students through clubs and advisory are asked to participate, if they choose, in reaching out to different organizations in the community. And the club that I sponsor, the kids couldn't be here tonight, so I'm representing them and what they would have me say. And they chose to reach out to the Child Safety Center here in Springdale. And many of them in the club hadn't heard of it, so they had researched and decided, hey, let's help that. That sounds like a really worthy cause. So over a period of weeks, they gathered in donations, and we were privileged enough to go, as you can see in the pictures, to donate in person to this facility and tour it. Many of these students didn't even know that this organization existed. Myself, I'm new to Springdale, and so I didn't even know this place existed, but it's been around for quite some time, and their work there is phenomenal. So we left in tears, and we left greatly impacted, greatly deeply affected by the work that the Child Safety Center does here in Springdale. So looking at that experience into our future of how can we make even more of a difference. Many of these students have commented to me that they aren't going to participate in the next community service opportunity at Central, which is Martin Luther King this Friday, going into the community and on campus to serve. Some of these individuals are also looking for their own ways to research and find ways that they can give back. One student, Corlin, her father has a food truck and she sometimes works on it. And she says, I want to use the money that I earn on that to give to the Child Safety Center and other organizations like that. And I think that's so powerful and what we're all about. So there's other opportunities as well, and I'm going to let the students who are here tonight speak about that. So first up is, I think, the Spanish Club.
Hi, my name is Ella Jones.
And I'm Sophia Shepard.
And today I'm going to talk to you about the opportunity we were given as a Spanish class to go out and take a field trip to the Children's Hospital. This is something that means a lot to me because my mom works for Ronald McDonald House Charities, and she gives back almost every day, and it was a really good experience just to have the opportunity to give back just like she does. And reflecting back to like my childhood, I remember like during the holidays and stuff, we would just exchange presents and have little Christmas parties and stuff. And this year I felt like our maturity level was great enough that we could actually get some money and give back to other people who are in need for the holidays.
Okay, so not only did we go to the Arkansas Children's Hospital, we also went to the Springdale Animal Shelter. And at the Springdale Animal Shelter, oftentimes pet owners underestimate the amount of responsibility it takes to care for a pet and own them, so they end up giving them to the animal shelter.
and the animal shelter doesn't have enough supplies and money and food to take care of all these pets, and we really felt for them, and we really wanted to give back to them, and Senorita Torres gave us the opportunity to do that.
And what you guys have with you are a list of all of the items that were donated. It was a total of 1,054, and it's really awesome. And you know, it goes back to all of the support that we've got, especially like the parents as well, since you know they're the one bringing in all of these things, and they were super excited about doing all of this. And I was just super glad that I could like help them, give them, you know, that opportunity to give back for the holidays. And then now we have our East group.
Hi, I'm Hannah Weiler.
And I'm Nelson Perez.
This year at Central East, we really wanted to focus on our community outreach and our community impact. So we started off the year with our 9/11 Day of Service Learning, where we had the opportunity to bring in over 30 community organizations, and all of our students had the opportunity to learn about how they help our community, and we also had the opportunity to thank them for their service towards our community. Towards the end of the year, we also had another event called Light Up Central, where we got the opportunity to adopt 7 different charities and collect items for these charities. So that was a really great event that we had, and we got the opportunity to reflect on these events to plan a future event, which Nelson's going to talk about a little more.
So after reflecting on both of these events, we analyzed our mistakes and thought of how we can improve their work and correct any misconceptions we had for upcoming events, such as our Martin Luther King Day of Service Learning that is this Friday. And we gathered over 300 students in our school to work with 14 organizations with the help of Ms. Lamb. And through this event, we'll be honoring Martin Luther King and his impact on society and culture by serving our local organizations and honoring them for their work. Next up is, next presentation is Don Tyson School of Innovation.
Oh, there's one over there.
Hi. So my name is, sorry, okay. My name is Tamara Tiam. I teach 7th grade English at the Don Tyson School of Innovation. I'll be representing us today. Thank you so much to Dr. Rollins and the board for allowing us to kind of show you guys how we've been implementing reflection at our school. At DTSOI, we've started implementing competency-based or mastery learning, which promotes students to be cognitive of their own learning. It also promotes student agency and fosters a transdisciplinary model where learning isn't siloed by subject area. Reflection and competency-based learning is essential as students reflect and adjust to their learning, and they have learning goals which they are able to reflect on and eventually will promote mastery. In my class, one of the most rewarding and challenging ways that I try to promote reflection in my class is through a self-grading sheet. So go ahead and give you a visual there. The self-grading sheet asks my students to explain what grade they think that they've earned and why, using examples specifically from their work and using terminology from their learning goal rubrics, as you'll see examples of on the screen behind you and in front of you. The self-reflection that happens in this process encourages self-editing, and they'll usually notice by looking at the rubric kind of what their mistakes were and actually adjust before really even saying what they think they've earned as their grade. With competency-based grading, there can be a lot of confusion since it's so new, and so when a student and I agree on a grade that they think that they've earned, it kind of implements trust in our relationship, which I think is probably my favorite part. And then when I do have to disagree with them on the grade that they've earned, they're a little more willing to trust me as I point them back to the rubric. I have with me today one of my students. This is Josie Samarin, and she's going to actually share with you how she's reflected on Learning Goal D, analyzed similar texts.
Hello, my name is Josie Samron. I'm a 7th grade student at Don Tyson School of Innovation. Today I'm here to talk about the steps I take when making a self-reflection. The first step is to go over the vocabulary in the rubric and ask questions, then choose the grade I think I deserve. After I choose my level of mastery, I explain in my own words why I believe I deserve that grade. I'll also pull words and phrases directly from the rubric to show I know what it means. The self-grading sheet is a way for my teacher and me to know that I know what the rubric is telling me. By reflecting back on my work, it showed me the potential I had for my exceeding product. The reflection had a really big impact on my grade because whenever I started using the rubric, I noticed some smaller details that I might have not noticed if I didn't use it. Thank you so much for your time, and now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Miller and his 9th grade ELA students.
Thank you, Ms. Josie. Thank you, Dr. Rollins and board members, for letting us be here to showcase some of the things that we're doing at SOI. I teach this year 9th grade English, and we spent the first 9 weeks of school dissecting and deconstructing several short stories, analyzing them for things like plot structure, symbolism, conflict, dialogue, character development, and so many more other things. These are concepts that are generally taught through the examples of our classic authors, like Hemingway or Shakespeare. But to take those concepts to a higher level of thinking involves developing that knowledge into a skill. So what better way to apply what students are learning than to walk them through the process of creating their own short stories? So I set out a challenge to all of my students that they had to write a 3,500 word short story. So imagine being a freshman in high school and having to write an entire short story, 3,500 words. Something you just love to do. And that short story has to be complete with essential elements of plot, at least one dynamic character, 5 literary elements, like symbolism, foreshadowing, allusions. It has to have dialogue, and it has to have a large variety of sentence structures. I was able to build the reflection piece into this writing process multifold. The first reflective, the final reflective piece was I kind of borrowed from Ms. Tiom in her self-grading assessment. I just saw what she was doing and thought it was brilliant because they have to justify and they have to rationalize what it is that they produced and how it would meet a certain grade. But throughout the writing process, we repeatedly utilized a certain platform whereby students were able to anonymously submit their writing and they were able to get immediate and very specific and direct feedback from their own peers. Each peer review session would require the students to prove and explain their use of certain literary techniques in their own short story. So what were the results? Well, you can imagine that as I introduced this assignment to the students, it was met with warm welcome. No complaints. 3,500 words, done tomorrow, right? But in the end, I only had one student who was not able to complete the task, and that was because of a certain housing situation that was completely understandable for him to not be able to produce. In fact, the students became so engaged in their stories that several of them have chosen to advance those stories into full-on novels. And I'm going to help 8 of my students walk through that whole novel writing process. And hopefully, with any luck, we might have a Springdale author here pretty soon. So I have 2 students with me who are in this journey of the novel process, and that is Miss Marissa Scott and Mr. Tyler Thornton.
Thank you for this opportunity to share with you some of the work we are doing at SOI. As I have reflected on my coursework this semester, I have discovered a passion for self-guided learning. This short story assignment from Mr. Miller didn't seem too difficult, seeing as I already knew what I wanted to write about. In order to complete this assignment, we had to reflect back onto past lessons. For example, a short story must have all elements of plot structure, dialogue, characterization, that includes dynamic, flat, etc., symbolism, foreshadowing, and many others. Incorporating these elements into a short story inevitably causes one to be very familiar with them. Now I will read an excerpt from my story, Panama. I told you it was a movie. It's Friday night. I got home before 11. You knew where I was and who I was with. Brianna heads to the stairs and mumbles under her breath, "You don't care any other night." Lauren ignores the comment. Brianna goes upstairs and takes a shower. After washing her hair and shaving, she sits in the tub. As the water hits her back, she thinks of how things have been over the years. After her little sister went missing, things were tense between her parents. They separated but didn't finalize the divorce. Her mom was drowning herself in work, as their entire family tended to do when a problem occurred. After a while of being alone with her thoughts, Brianna noticed the water was cold. When she got out, the air swarmed around her. She grabbed a warm, dry towel and wrapped up in it. The warmth surrounding her made her feel safe. Thank you for your time.
Hello, my name is Tyler Thornton, and I just want to start off with thank you for your time. I'm glad to be here, and I'm very grateful to just represent both my fellow students and just my school in general. And one of the things I want to start off with first is 3,500 words. It was stressful, man. I don't even know where to start. Like, it wasn't one of those things where it was just, oh, okay, I'll just do it all tonight, and then it's okay tomorrow. It was... At first, I just couldn't stop. I was overwhelmed with all the stress of, what am I going to do? What am I going to choose? This is all my story. And then I got to that point where it's my story. And then I just couldn't stop because I just fell for the idea of, this is my story. And it was impossible to just choose my ideas. And then I realized, why stop there? So then I said, you know what? It isn't a short story. It's mine. So I'm going to make it a novel. And I just wanted to go beyond, not just for my fellow students and to represent my school, but just for myself for once. I wanted to make something to call my own. And I really wanted to just represent the real development of these characters that I made, where this is a story that I like to call medieval yet modern. It's a sci-fi, time travel, medieval kind of crisis, where it shows the real development of two protagonists that I've made, where one is an AI unit created in the future of all peacemaking, and the other is a human who believes that the peacemaker was really just the cause of all the chaos and all that Back to the Future stuff that we all know about. So then, in this story that I made, as I'm about to read this excerpt, I just want to say that this is going to sound really weird, but it's a cyborg at this point, where the AI and the person are the same. So if I would like to read this excerpt, I hope you appreciate it. I'm not dead! I stand up yelling in confusion. Wait, I could stand. Wait, but what got hit? I say as a laser blast courses right next to my head and almost hitting me. As I turn around, when I somehow burst an EMP blast around me, hitting all the robots and shutting them off. What was that? EMP blast. You needed it, did you not? You were surrounded by multiple enemy targets. My programming is to help. Wait, you're programming? EMP blast? Needed, did you not? What are you? Leave. I am the AI unit peacemaker designed for the evolution of human intelligence in service of health actions and the better of the world. I am sorry, dear Jonathan, but I cannot leave, for I am linked to you in the action of human AI bonding, or to simply put, as if in media, a cyborg bond. Wait, quit lying to me. That's what you were supposed to do. That's what you were supposed to be. And then you turned. You were corrupted, but I don't care because you are a murderer. Why am I even talking to you? You're not a person or a living being, and you are clearly not in front of me, so why do I even hear you at all? I'm part of your, as your fellow human friends would say, consciousness. I have been bonded to your spine and would have been linked completely to your nervous system if my former corrupted system were not interrupted in the link process. Wait, so you're in me now? Yes, Josh. So as I conclude, I would just like to say once again, thank you for your time to listen to me, and I would like to turn this back over to the principal of Elmdale Elementary, Miss Hutton.
Very nice. Did you guys have any parents with you here tonight, these two students? Thank you.
Once again, thank you for allowing us the opportunity to showcase our reflective practices. Again, reflective practices are for everyone. It helps us affirm our thinking, improve our work, and clear up any misconceptions or mistakes in our work. Dr. Rollins, I just wanted to say that we believe that the growth and success in the Springdale School District is due to your reflective leadership. Thank you.
Board, if you would, let's just look quickly to page 36 on your agenda this evening, then 37 and 38. I realize I'm bringing a very preliminary proposal to you, Mr. President. Our work session is not until April, but there are so many things that are coming our way. And I hope we can all have input into that process. What a great group. Good job, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Very good.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thanks for the M&Ms.
Again, this is January. The legislative session, the fiscal legislative session, will begin in April. There are items that will emerge predictably in this legislative session that we all need to be students about so that we can share our perspective on those. So I just tried to capture some of those. Let me just ask you to make some notes just on that first section, and then we'll move forward. School finance is obviously very important to the progress that all schools in the state are making. The services that we provide to children require appropriate funding, and we understand those issues. Over the last 4 years, we've seen annual adjustments of less than 1%, a little over 1%. This year, that's grown to about 1.7%. So I think we're moving the adjustments back in the right direction. But prior to this last 3 or 4 years, we were annually seeing increases of 2% or more, as y'all recall. So we just need to position ourselves so that we can be good students of that process. The dark store theory is out there. It's working its way through not just through the courts in Arkansas, but in courts across the country. And Mike, thank you for the communication that you forwarded to me and others as well. So we're all trying to be students of that process, et cetera. The facilities funding piece, and we're going to take a look in tonight's agenda about our 10-year facility plan. We need to have a good understanding in terms of the projected future of those funds. We understand that adjustments are being considered that would reduce the state's commitment to the school facilities program in the state. So I hope that's not good information. It's conversation that we've heard from really the highest positions in the state to just working with our peers. Dr. Cleveland and I will be in Little Rock the next 2 days participating in the Superintendent Summit. And again, I think once we complete that networking, if you will, we'll be in a better position to at least share some of the perspective that's taking place at the state. And Randy, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of that information through your work with the State School Boards Association. So I would hope you would share that with us as well. really important, and y'all know this extremely well. I need for you to be mindful of the third point, and that's NSLA. NSLA today is the major buffer that we use to serve our high-need student population. $16 million per year flowing to us, which we put right back into direct services to our children. We're hearing and have heard for some time that the NSLA funding guidelines very likely will be reviewed, potentially adjusted. We're going to be very interested in how that comes home to us, right? Okay. The adequacy study, and y'all follow this in the newspaper, it's been on again, off again, on again. Well, it's on and official. The Augenblick firm, a financial advising firm at the national level, has been selected to do a new adequacy study. We're 10, 11 plus years into this adequacy study. It's time for a review. It's time, hopefully, for reconsideration in terms of the funding process. We have to constantly be mindful of the educational changes that are moving across the country. Choice, charters, vouchers, savings plans, all those topics you have some familiarity with, those should be front and center in this fiscal session. It's also not unlikely that we'll see some instructional items brought into the mix because they have financial implications as well. Grading scales, et cetera, we are quite interested in. And this Springdale team over time has influenced that grading system quite a bit, as opposed to a single test score. Now we have a multi-tiered level. Our instructional division, Dr. Smith, and her team was quite involved with that, along with Megan and others as we work through that system. So again, we're looking at April, but getting ready for April, Michelle, takes a little time. So I just point those things out to you, and you see I've really just captured for the remainder of the day opportunities for instruction division and facilities. And I wanted to get our athletic director in front of the group and let him talk about activities, programs of the district, so you understand those emerging needs as well. Mr. President, just a preliminary agenda, and my sincere request of the board, if y'all have things that you'd like to see work its way to the agenda, I would really welcome that.
No, I think the preliminary information, obviously the legislative issues that will drive what we talk about financial, which turns into how much money we're going to have for instruction. I think it all flows pretty well.
Yes, it does.
The thing I feel a little slighted here that last board meeting we all had 10 minutes to present information, and I don't see that anywhere on the agenda. So, make sure we're all not slighted our 10 minutes here.
You help me with that thought process.
I will.
I would welcome.
I like to have everybody having to prepare something, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's good thinking.
I know they'll appreciate it. They appreciate it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Thank you, board. Any questions of me?
No, that's
Thank
good.
you very much. Dr. Smith, you ready?
Good evening, Board. As you know, we've been focused on starting with why, and in our district we have our collective why, which is teach them all, and all means all. Over the holidays, Dr. Rollins and I had some very productive conversations about innovation in Springdale, and one of the things that we talked about is what does that look like, where's our success, and how are we moving forward? And it was a very interesting conversation, and at one point I stated, Springdale is setting the standard for Arkansas when it comes to innovation. And Dr. Rollins leaned over and he says, it's not about how we compare to the state, it's about how we're constantly getting better with a clear focus on student achievement. So you'll see this quote from Sam Waterston, who said, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. And I think that speaks volumes to our conversation, Dr. Rollins. As you hear the curriculum instruction team with Ms. Tischer followed by Ms. Childress, I think you're going to hear a lot about innovation, and I think you're definitely going to hear about us getting better at getting better. Ms. Tischer?
Good evening, Dr. Rollins and board. So as you've heard and seen, a huge component of innovation and innovative practice is to encourage student agency, student ownership, and student voice throughout all the facets of the educational process. So I was overjoyed in August when Dr. Greep shared with me a proposal from a student at Harbor High School. And Jax, if you want to kind of go ahead and make your way up here. While he's coming up, I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction. Jax Nally is a student at Harbor High School, and he created a proposal to create the first ever Springdale Student Forum. And immediately the proposal caught my eye because under the title there were 3 words: representation, collaboration, and innovation. 3 of my favorite things. And so as I looked through the proposal, I realized that Jax has a complete and total understanding of student agency, and he wanted to bring representatives from each of our 4 high schools together as a collaborative to work alongside all of us as leaders in our school district. And so I'm going to let Jax talk to you a little bit about the student forum and what it is and how this idea has come to life.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Tischer. Thank you so much for the board for having me, and Dr. Rollins, really appreciate it. So, the idea of the student forum is something that came to me over the summer. And really what brought it to my mind is Dr. Greep had a leadership plan that he had been implementing at Harbor and that had been with him also at Central, because I followed him from Central to Harbor. And something that really struck me is how he always sought to have students there to represent themselves, at the places where decisions were being made. So at hiring interviews, there were students there. I was asked to be on a few. Whenever they were having their department head meetings, there were students there. And that was something that always just stood out to me, and it changed my entire view really of what it meant to be a student and how we can take ownership for what happens to us in the school district. And so the Springdale Student Forum is really the culmination of that. We have 12 students from all 4 high schools that we get together at least once a month, and we talk about, just what we want to see in the district, things that we can do to improve the district, things that we want to see from our administrators. And it's built this really cool collaboration that, I've been really blessed to see happen in terms of administrators and students being able to take the reins together on what, makes Springdale great. And so anything else you'd like to say?
You all have questions for Jax?
So this is really not related, but you have been coming to the board meetings now since, I think, Hellstrom, right?
Yes, sir. I've been at a few.
And I think a couple of times you were in some classes where you Skyped your class.
Yes, sir.
Languages, yeah. So how many languages can you speak?
So I have the seal of biliteracy for English, Spanish, French, and German.
I think I told Dr. Rollins today, we were talking about the agenda this morning, and he said Jax Nally is coming. I said, I think he knows 4 languages. I don't know what made me think about. I've been
Yes,
kind
sir.
of following you. It's pretty awesome that you've now progressed into an active role in leadership in
Thank
the
you.
district. So
I really appreciate it.
That's really great, and I like seeing how confident you speak to us, because that's just a great trait to have. So
Thank you.
You've got a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you. And I'm, really excited for the collaboration we can also see with the school board. There's always been really receptive people in Springdale, and I think that's something that really enables the success of students like me. Because when you want to step ahead, there are people there that let you and they guide you.
Yeah.
And so, that's just been an amazing experience, and I've realized that we have so many great people in the district. So thank you all so much.
Thanks for being here tonight. It's great.
Absolutely.
What's next?
My plans? Oof. For a long time, I was that kid that I was like, I want to be the president. And so I don't really want to go into politics anymore. But, a lot of the work with the Student Forum has, brought me to the field of educational policy. I think that's a really cool way to make a difference and, be on the ground with, making a difference in kids' lives. So.
Great. Good to see you here.
There's always a place for you in Springdale. Thank you, Jax.
I think his mom's here.
Oh, yes, Amy, Miss Nally, could you give everybody a wave or stand? Let's recognize Jax's mom. And just to give you an idea of how mature and wise Jax is, these were his goals for the forum. To provide a form of student representation at the district level, allowing capable students to be involved in discussions related to student affairs, to recognize and foster the growth of student leaders in the Springdale School District through the opportunity to work on behalf of their peers, and my favorite, to institutionalize and innovate in the field of student voice, bettering student administrator connections, and advancing a united Springdale. So there you go. Education policy is for you, my friend. Okay, and one other quick announcement from secondary curriculum and instruction. I'm happy to announce to you that the Walton Family Foundation has approved a grant in the amount of $200,000 to the Springdale School District. This particular grant, the purpose is to support Harbor High School's Aviation Club by acquiring 15 flight simulators and 2 teacher stations. And so a little bit about the Springdale Aviation Club at Harbor High School, which at another board meeting in the spring, you'll get to hear more about this and hear from them. This club is designed to allow students to experience the world of flight, aviation, to explore STEM-related careers and equip students with tools needed should they choose to pursue the field of aviation or flight in secondary, post-secondary option. So these particular simulators will be used during the school year by Harbor High School, and then in the summer, there will be a partnership between our school district and the National Air and Space Museum. And through that partnership, they will send a team of people to our district from the National Air and Space Museum, and they will conduct a 2-week camp called She Can Aviation Camp, and they will take 30 campers in each of those camps over the course of 3 years, so 90 campers will participate, and this particular camp is geared towards young women who are interested in pursuing the STEM field, but it is open to boys and to girls, and so we're very excited. With these flight simulators, teachers are able to recreate realistic flight scenarios in real-world environment in which these aircraft are located. So these particular flight simulators are the actual simulators that pilots, licensed pilots, use to complete their education. Absolutely. They are set to arrive hopefully early in March, and once they are set up and in use, we will give you another report. And so we're very excited. So thank you.
All right, good evening, board. Tonight, I have Mary Mullican, who is principal of Bayari Elementary, and Lynn Ryan, principal of Walker Elementary, who are going to come forward and give you an update on the Tita Rollins Early Literacy Initiative.
Thank you, board and Dr. Rollins, for allowing us to be here. This is an exciting time for us to come and celebrate this amazing gift that hasn't just impacted Walker and Bayari, but has impacted every elementary in Springdale. And this began 3 years ago with our kindergarten classes getting books, and then our first grade classes received books, and this year our second grade classes received books. So I'm going to introduce one of my second grade teachers, Mrs. Rhonda McCracken, and then we will hear from some students from Walker and Bayari about how this has impacted their education of having the gift of books. So just a second, Ms. McCracken.
All right. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us. Yes, my name is Rhonda McCracken. I think I know most of you. I teach second grade, but I'm also an instructional facilitator, and so I have a new role this year. I've been an instructional facilitator for 3 years, and this year I had the opportunity to kind of practice what I preach and go in the classroom. I teach in the morning and do instructional facilitator in the afternoon, and I've been able to be a part of receiving the books for the past 3 years and getting to get them all ready and deliver them to the teachers, and their excitement when they receive these books. It's like, I get these and I can keep them in my room for myself and my kids, and they love them. I had the opportunity also of meeting Mrs. Rollins years ago at Parson Hills when I first started in Springdale. And, when we took the books the first year to the kids and to the teachers and explaining what that sticker was, and that Mrs. Rollins was someone who loved kids and loved books, and that this was a gift from her family. And so, we have that sticker in there that we get to see and to remember her. This is our third year. I've gotten to take them 3 times, and this year I got to be the one that got to keep them. So that was exciting to get to keep them in my room and use them with my kids. And so I have 2 of my kids here.
We're going to get the mic down and bring them around to the front. All right, this is Isabella Berg, and then following Isabella will be Lawson Franks.
My name is Isabella Berg. I am in Miss McCracken and Mrs. Dotson second grade class at Walker Elementary. Thank you for the books you gave our classroom. Some are used in our library. Some are used in our group time with Miss McCracken. My favorite books are the nonfiction because I love to learn about new things and share and talk about them with my friends in class.
My name is Lawson Franks, and I am also in Mrs. Kraken and Miss Dotson's second grade class at Walker. The whole second grade would like to give you this card with a big thank you for the books you gave our school. We really appreciate it. We would like to invite you to stop by Walker and read with us anytime.
Dr. Owens, thank you for donating the I Read books to our school. What I like about the books is that they are science, but in a fun way. Dr. Owens, thank you for donating the I Read books to our school. My favorite book is That How It Works because simple machines. Dear Dr. Owens, thank you for donating the I Read books to our school. My favorite book is Math Bar. What I like about the book are the colorful pages. Dr. Rollins, thank you for donating the I Read books to our school. What I like about the books are that they make you smarter.
Yes, all of our second graders have really enjoyed the books. They like the fact that they're science and social studies books, and they get to learn lots of things. We'd like to also thank Trinity Education Foundation, the Smeating Foundation, Janice Thoreau, and the Baldwin and Shell for donating $26,000. Thank you.
We'd just like to close in saying it's an honor to be part of this legacy that's been established in the memory of Mrs. Rollins.
Any parents?
Parents,
Yes.
thank you for being here.
Thank you for
All right, now we can have the Children's Nap Butterfly Magnets team head this way. They are one of 3 teams in the Springdale School District who have qualified to compete in the 2020 Youth Entrepreneurial Showcase.
Thank you so much for allowing us to celebrate with you tonight. We've brought with us our GT teacher and 4 of our kiddos who will be competing in the Youth Entrepreneurship Showcase competition. And they're able to do this because they qualified at the state level and will be going to Hot Springs to compete. So they won 2 different awards. I'll tell you more about it. But they were in the top 25 in the state. The other 2 teams in our district are from middle schools, correct? And then we were the elementary top finalist in the 25. And then also this team was selected as one of the top 10 finalists for the most innovative division. So let's have a hand for this great group and they'll share more with you.
I'm Jennifer Taunton. I am their GT facilitator, and I wanted to share the judges' comments from their business plan. It says, "This is a great product that shows real innovation. I liked how thoughtful the team was in considering how to take an existing idea and make it better. This team did a fabulous job putting together their statement of funds needed and income statement. They clearly spent a lot of time working on these 2 items and put together the best statement of funds and income statement I have judged this year."
Nice.
So, and I'm going to let the kids introduce themselves and tell you about their product.
We are the Butterfly Magnets team from Linda Childress Knapp Elementary. My name is Meredith. This is Kiara, Sephora, and Franklin. We are all fifth graders. In October, my GT class started preparing for the YES competition. YES is a youth entrepreneurship showcase and starts as a business plan competition. Our business plan placed in the top 25 out of 191 plans from 5th through 8th graders across the state. I believe you have a copy of our business plan in your notes. We also placed in the top 10 in the most innovative division. A team from J.L. Kelly and one from Helen Tyson Middle School also placed in the top 25 business plans. At first, we wanted to put M&Ms in the wings, but Ms. Tollins suggested we think of something that would last longer than candy. So we innovated our product by replacing the M&Ms with tissue paper. We save money by asking people to donate their tissue paper from Christmas. This also helps the environment by reusing the tissue paper.
On February 14th, we will compete against the other 25 winning teams in Hot Springs. We have to design a retail booth, dress professionally, develop a marketing plan, and talk to the judges, all while selling our product.
We are excited to participate in the YES competition in February. If you are in Hot Springs, you are welcome to stop by and visit our booth.
Thank you.
Very good. Parents, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And you will have to make sure and let us know how you do in that competition. I think the other two schools may come back and report to us on the results. So thank you. All right. You all, I don't have to tell you that Springdale Public School District is a leader in the state and a leader in the nation. And a perfect example of that is the Watchdogs program. Watchdogs was founded at George Elementary School in 1998. Conceived, innovated there, and created there at George Elementary. Today, there are more than 6,450 schools in the world that have Watchdog programs, and it started here in Springdale at George. 21 years later, Watchdog dads and Safegate moms are still working in our schools and alive and well. And Shelley Bewley, assistant principal at Shaw, and Stephanie Hensey, assistant principal at Elmdale, are going to come give you an update on Watchdogs in Springdale. Do you want to do this or you want me to?
Thank you for having us. We talk about innovation as doing something in a new and different way. And with our Watchdog program, we felt like under the leadership and guidance of Dr. Rollins that we wanted to revisit our programs and look at how we were changing our traditional model of the Watchdog Dad and Safegate Mom program to meet the needs of our current parents and patrons. So I'm going to share some of the things that we found that have worked through our revitalization of the program. If you have questions, feel free to stop us. One of the things we found is finding a coordinator at our schools to really form that tight committee of dads or parents. We say dads, but that refers to, we have neighbors that are involved, we have uncles and grandparents, but we've brought those coordinators in and we've had events where we are trying to show them that they can add to our pillars of success in Springdale by focusing on safety particularly, and then also personalization and partnerships. One of the things that we've done is taken our traditional full day model where dads think they have to come and they stay all day and they have to
do bingo all day, and we've tried to be flexible with that and meet the needs of our dads. So we have all different versions of watchdogs happening across the district. We have 7:15 to 8 o'clock greeters and crosswalk duty. We have dads that come and eat lunch and enjoy recess with students. And we have some dads that do come for a half day or a full day, and they're able to use that flexible model to meet their needs. This is an event that we've had and some of the schools have had where we're able to recruit our dads to come in. And what this event has done is build connection with the kids and allow them to see that school is a fun place, and it's a way for you to come and build connections with not only your students but with their friends. And you'll see some of the little games that we played and just kind of opened up the environment so that the dads that weren't sure if they wanted to participate, they kind of quickly decided that this would be something that they would be able to participate and enjoy. And these are just a few of the quotes. I think you'll see the 4 pillars present in the quotes from our students, but they all talked about how they enjoyed having the parents there. They felt those partnerships and family members. They felt that the Watchdog Dad and Safe Gate Mom programs were able to help with their achievement. They were improving their reading and writing, and that learning was personalized for them, but mostly that they felt safer at school because we have that increased presence, especially in elementary schools, of a male presence at our schools. So Stephanie's going to give you some more examples of how partnerships have worked in her and other schools.
Space here. So we have the opportunity to be very creative in how we develop these partnerships, and so I'm going to talk kind of about the who and the what. With the who, we've talked about moms and dads, obviously, but we also have people that want to be involved that don't necessarily have kids in the school, and we don't ever turn that away. And so we have our partners at Elmdale Baptist and Springdale First Assembly. We have a very unique partnership with the fire station, the department, and Station 3. And then we kind of recruit spouses of staff members, obviously. With the what, we found that everybody has a level of comfort when they come into the schools, and we want to honor that. There are some people that have backgrounds that can come and read with a child and ask them comprehension questions, but some that want just a very low level, and when that happens, we just say, come and be a lunch buddy. Just come and sit beside a kid and eat lunch. You can eat or not eat, but we try to pick students who, aren't maybe the most popular, or they're getting bullied, or they are bullied. And that seeing that adult eat with them raises the stock in their peers. And so we try to be particular about that, about placing students with lunch buddies. Reading buddies, obviously we have a safety patrol, and to make that very concrete and easy, we have a safety checklist that just takes them around every area of the building looking for doors that are unlocked, or students who are roaming the hallways, or maybe somebody that doesn't have a badge on, just to help us with safety as well. Morning greeters, morning crosswalk, and then I put kind of other duties as assigned because whenever something comes up, we just ask, and they're obviously happy to do that for us. So I'm just going to show you some pictures of what we've done this year. This is Fire Station 3, and we have a very unique partnership. We're so blessed by them. They started with us 6 years ago, and we actually placed them with 3rd grade students. And so they followed those students to 4th grade and then to 5th grade, built those strong relationships. They attended our 5th grade celebration and even continued to have partnerships throughout the summertime where the kids would go over to Fire Station 3. Since then, we've pulled them back to 3rd grade kids and then followed them to 4th grade, and now that group of kids is in 5th grade. And so we're really excited about that and how we can have that longevity with students. And we also have other people who come and do lunch buddies, but I thought this partnership was really unique. We have crosswalk and safety patrol. If you see the gentleman down there on the far right, that was the day he got recruited to come in and help. That's my husband. But we have other spouses. We have this gentleman, Casey Todd, who has a wife that's an instructional assistant, and his daughter is now a 2nd grade teacher, and he comes and actually does safety patrol. He's got he actually works in security for the Children's Hospital, and so he comes and helps us to identify areas where we can get better, like on the playground. We had some hornet's nests we were taking care of, and he was keeping an eye on that and helping us monitor that, and so just safety around the building, which was really helpful. And then greeters and reading buddies, and it's backwards, sorry. Springdale First Assembly and Elmdale Baptist have taken a day every single week, and from 7:15 until 7:45, they are opening doors, saying hello to kids, huge smiles, and I walk in around that time, and it makes my day better. So I know the hundreds of kids that are coming through the door at that time, that's just opening a door and saying, hello, how are you today? It's huge. And they're out there in the cold, in the snow, in the rain, in the heat, in the hot. And so sometimes they've been recruited to do crosswalk duty as well, because if it's raining, then an influx comes in early. And so they're really proud that they've got promoted to crosswalk duty. And then reading buddies, we have some members from Springdale First Assembly that come and read with our first graders on a weekly basis, which is really great. And so I'd just like to say thank you, Dr. Rollins, for your leadership and encouragement to make sure that we are fostering and improving on our parent partnerships. And thank you to the school board for your commitment and your sacrifice that you make to make this school system better for our students and our families and our community. And I don't have my parents not here, so they can't stand up and clap for me, sorry.
And a fun history memory associated with Watchdogs. As I was preparing for tonight, Dr. Annette Freeman, who is now Dr. Annette Thompson, reminded me that some of the very, very first Watchdogs our district had were Frank Broyles and members of the George family who, anyway, so that was special to remember that they served as Watchdog schools for us, Watchdog dads for us that very first year. So, okay, thanks. I think I'm passing it off.
Good job, Dr. Cleveland.
Wow, I'd love to say thank you, board, for everything you do, and for all the school board. It's Appreciation Month, but the video that was shown well, we saw it yesterday, I guess. Tonight, you're right, that is the best thing I've ever seen. And certainly I think it was heartfelt and well done. Anyway, exciting news tonight in the world of facilities and personnel. Yes. Lots of fun. The first report I'd like to give you is about the planning process for the School of Innovation that'll be housed in Tawnytown. We're excited about that. I've requested a meeting with the mayor and the leadership in Tawnytown. Dr. Rollins and I are going to go out there and visit, and we're going to talk about the plans and what it's looking like. But I'd like to take a personal point of privilege to tell you how much you need to be proud of the curriculum team for the work they're doing in planning this facility. Dr. Smith, Ms. Tischer, and Ms. Maribel, they are doing phenomenal work in their research for this school to not only be great, but be beyond great and have an opportunity to grow. So they are awesome, and they've done excellent work. And I don't know that you ever get to hear that. You just hear about the brick and mortar and the things that are happening, but they are excellent. Dr. Rollins and I have traveled with them to look at some other places, and I know he couldn't be more proud, and I couldn't be more proud to be a part of the team. We would really like for Mr. Hayes to step it up. He's been a laggard at times in regard to the planning process. So anyway, a little levity. They've been great. It is moving forward at a rapid pace. We expect that our schedule will have something for you to look at. I know that you expect to see something soon, and maybe at the next work session, we'll have some preliminary looks. Is that okay, Dr. Rollins?
I think that's a great plan, really.
I think that's on his mind to do so. Any questions about the elementary? Okay. Well, we're excited about it, and I know you are too, and we're going to move forward. The second aspect of the report tonight is the preliminary evaluation of the master plan. I have to tell you, other than providing a little bit more data for a potential elementary school in 22-23, everything was preliminarily approved that was on your master plan. So when you look at it, the Central Junior High Phase 2, you're expected to receive $14 million in state funds. For the new classroom addition and arena multi-purpose facility for Springdale High, over $8 million, and it's great work. And Southwest Junior High for Phase 2, $6.7. Now keep in mind, we had those Phase 1 opportunities to expand. So now, all of the planning and the efforts that you've gone through, that Dr. Rollins and the whole team have worked together to develop, including Chuck Stein, Jeremy White, and the whole bunch, now you've got some work to do, board. So we'll see.
That's something to feel pretty good about, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it. I know Doc's excited about it, and it just means we have some extra things that we can do moving forward to help serve our kids at a higher level. I don't know how you get better, and I do a little dance, but I can't do that. Not good at it. So we're very, very pleased. On the outside of that, I just toured the school-based health center at Parson Hills, and we're so happy that it's almost done. Jeremy did a punch list. Miss Maribel's gone through there and she's given us some help where it's needed. And so thank you, Miss Childers. So she's put her personal touch on it, and she's excellent, and I give her a hard time, but she has been a tremendous addition to the team and is helping us making sure it looks right for you and the kids at Parson Hills. So that'll be soon. Dr. Rollins will send you a letter at some point to maybe look at some dates for a grand opening. I know that's what he's looking at, and that'll come from him soon. So if you get a chance, drive by. I think it looks great, and I hope you're as pleased with it as we are. Okay. Anything else besides the 2 videos I'd like to show? A couple of weeks ago, right before Christmas break, Dr. Rollins said, it really would be good if you maybe took a couple of pictures of the IT building and the laundry. The board really doesn't get a chance to go through there, and he said, I'd like to see it too. And I took him through one day, and he was as pleased as he could be. So we just decided we'd take it a little bit of a step further, and we created a video to go forward. Trent Jones.
So we do have a celebrity in the room, right?
Which one, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Jeremy's going to come up, and I'd like to invite Paul Miller too. They both are stars in the video. And especially Jeremy, he's dressed up for the evening.
Should I open my popcorn for this?
You can open your popcorn.
And they'll be doing autographs after
he can do autographs. Y'all are taking this just a hair far. I'm not sure we can live with Jeremy after this if his head gets too much bigger. He'll be downstairs with Trent Jones watching it together. I caught Trent downstairs watching his performance. So Trent, if you're listening, I saw you. Anyway, Ms. Martinez, if you don't mind, let's start with the IT building. Paul, please come forward. Jeremy, too.
Tech support, this is Tanya. How can I help you?
About a year ago, we were approached about selling the facility that we had on Emma Street, but we needed somewhere for technology to go. Paul Miller took what he saw as an empty metal building, consulted with his team. We incorporated our good friends from Flemco and a small architecture firm in Rogers, and we came in, kind of took what Paul had dreamed up, he and his team. Basically, our local team, our homegrown team, Jeremy White and his crew, they basically did it.
In the school district, the role of the technology department is primarily for support of student learning. We wanted our building to kind of remind you of any other technology-driven business you would go into, whether that's Google or Microsoft or anything like that. We wanted to give that kind of tech building vibe.
The part I really like about this facility is that it ties in with the history of Springdale.
The outside of the building, I wanted to match the neighborhood. We're right across from the rodeo grounds. We're right next door to the sale barn. There's a lot of Springdale history on this corner of Emma,
and it's beautiful. And although it's beautiful, it was built for a fraction of the price. We took something that was old and made it new again, and we're tickled with that. And that's what we can do in Springdale schools.
We've got our workstation support team, and they work in a space that we call the bullpen, which is what's right behind us here. And so the bullpen is, it's our open communication space. It's where, all the work happens, and because everybody's kind of doing similar jobs, they all have an opportunity to collaborate and communicate with each other. And then in the back corner, which is a much more intimate space, is where the enterprise team works. And they all work pretty collaboratively, pretty close together. So the server room, our network is designed so that we're the hub for the entire school district. So that's how you log onto a computer, all the security appliances that protect our students from any harmful things on the internet. So that is the core
of our business. Technology today is our backbone. It's our hub. It's what happens. This central state runs the entire Springdale School District. 44 facilities, 31 schools, 44 facilities, and they're all tied together in one hub. It's very important that this place always have power, always be staffed for our district to run.
And the support of the school board validated what we do. We couldn't have done it without their support and without them understanding and valuing what we do as a department.
Paul's dream is for students and community to be able to come in here and collaborate and learn and maybe have a repository of old parts and things that we could help share with our community. So he's got a great dream of that, and our goal is to help him launch that dream.
We came up with this light bulb, and it's a wireframe diagram of a light bulb, but it represents us as a department that we provide that connectivity and that light and opportunity for growth for students. And we're that extra vision that they have to be able to learn and to grow.
Dr. Rollins, School Board, thank you very much for the support that you've given us and my department and everything that we do. You know, we have a great opportunity to be able to support student learning, and we take it very seriously, and we are very grateful for the support that you give us and for the opportunity that we have to work here in Springdale.
Paul's not just a really good IT director and leader, he's a good man. And so he's the kind of quality human that serves at the highest level, and we're very pleased he chooses to serve with us, because we know, especially in this Northwest Arkansas quadrant, he can work wherever he wants to. He chooses to work here, and so we're blessed that he's here. Next is Jeremy White. This next video, I just need to set this up. Jeremy looks good, okay? He's got his jacket on. It's a different color jacket. He's got his lapel pin. Trent texted him one night and said, Jeremy, Dr. Cleveland said that we're going to do this video, and I need you to be ready to talk tomorrow. Jeremy didn't sleep all night. Just didn't sleep. He was nervous about it, was sick over it, but he did a phenomenal job. There are so many parts of Springdale School District that have to work in tandem with other parts for everything to look seamless. The laundry in Springdale, Arkansas really takes care of all those other little seamless parts out there that you don't notice. You would notice if they didn't do their job real quickly. The cafeterias, the custodians, the pre-K, they would notice that minute. So tonight, when you watch this video, listen for the statistics that Jeremy so eloquently spits out about what all happens at the laundry. But after the video, Melissa, if you'll go ahead and play that, we'll give you an opportunity to talk to Jeremy.
Well, the laundry facility is a 2,500 square foot facility. It was located over on the old Meadow and Emma Street location too, in the warehouse, but it was much smaller. Well, when we knew we were going to leave, we looked at it and said, okay, what can we do to improve our efficiency, to reduce our cost, and overall have a better investment for our district and our kids. Again, the Cecil Phillips property had 3 buildings. This was one of the smaller buildings, and we just expanded it just a little bit, gutted it, made it into our own, and now we have a 50-year life facility with wonderful people who take care of our babies and our ladies every day.
We have 5 full-time people and 1 part-time person. I think it's just to keep our kids, just a healthy and safe environment for the kids to learn, and obviously to save the district money so we can use that money in different areas.
To do our work, it would cost anywhere between $15,000 or so or more to do our laundry every week for pre-K and the kitchens and everything else. That's a lot of money to put that out. We can do it for a fraction of a cost with our own people in our own facility.
So on a normal weekly basis, we wash about 12,000 towels, about 1,200 aprons, 1,400 microfiber mops, 700 pot holders, 460 wet mops, 180 22-inch dust mops, and 140 48-inch dust mops.
let's say it was $20,000. You take the labor of the folks who work here and the materials, and you're spending probably 20-25% of that monthly to provide the same service that sending that out would cost.
Used to, it would take us 40 minutes to dry dust mops and aprons and everything, and now it takes us about 10 minutes. And then we also added a boiler system for our hot water at this facility. It allows us to use the hot water to activate the chemicals we use, and by doing that, we save 75% on our chemical cost and usage. So the kitchens, we do aprons, pot holders. Custodial, we do rags, dust mops. Pre-K is mainly blankets, and we do lost and found for some of the schools. We've got some kids that they may need clothes. We do pickups for those and launder them and take them back to the school for the counselors and the nurses to use again.
Whenever they don't have to worry, a student or a teacher or any support staff, if they don't have to worry about the little things, right, then the big things, their learning, their student achievement is not impeded. Overall, cleanliness and lack of germs proves and has proven that if students can be at school every day and not sick and not sharing that sickness, then they have a better chance of learning. You miss school, you're missing out on learning. So that's our main goal, is to kids, for students to be here every day.
Jeremy would like you to ask him some questions.
Yeah. So you all know I'd rather be behind the scenes than up here, but Dr. Cleveland wanted me to do that, so I do appreciate everything you guys let us do to get better.
That's just another example of good work. That's
Appreciate
all.
it.
It's good.
Great job.
We have a lot of fun in our department, and I'm glad Dr. Rollins had the idea for us to do this video. It was fun for us, and I think it spawned some additional things that we'd like to do to maybe help tell the Springdale story. Trent tells it all the time. Dr. Rollins talks about the Springdale story. Rick Schaefer's constantly talking about that. We could have a 24-hour infomercial kind of TV show or program about the quality things that go on in Springdale every day, from the city to the school to everything else. And anyway, it's a pleasure to work for you, and thanks for letting us have a little fun. Thanks, Dr. Rollins.
Great job.
Good evening. You'll see in your packet, I have 3 items for you tonight. The first is the routine approval of out-of-district transfers. There are 4 students from Fayetteville, 4 students from Huntsville, and 1 from Rogers that want to come into the district. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I'd ask that you approve these out-of-district transfers.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Creek and a second by Mrs. Cook to approve the out-of-district transfers as stated. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you. The next item is, you may remember the 2017 legislative session, there was a new law that was passed that requires that every January you all get a report of your own training that you've received in the last year. So that report is included in your packet. Everyone is in compliance with their required training hours.
Even me?
Even Mr. Luther, no. You are allowed to carry over 6 hours from a previous year, so that's the reflection there.
At least I'm not last.
Correct.
This time.
2,000 built up.
Okay, all right.
Yes. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I do need a motion for you to accept this report.
I make a motion we accept the report as presented.
So we have a motion by Mr. Training Hours Luttrell and a second by the most training hours, Nick Emerson, to approve this as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you. And the final item is some information for you on the upcoming school election. The school election will be held on March 3rd. It will be at the same time as the preferential primary, so there will be a number of items on your ballot. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, we'll get a sample ballot and be able to send that out to you. But in your packet, you'll see the polling places, both for early voting and election day voting. Early voting will begin the week of February 18th. Depending on the location of early voting, the days that those places are open and the hours vary, so you'll really want to focus in on where you think you want to do your voting and make sure you're going on a day and during a time that they're open if you're doing early voting. You can vote at any polling site, both for early voting and on election day, as long as it's in your county. So if you live in Washington County, you've got to vote in Washington County, but it can be at any of the locations. Same thing with Benton County. If you live in Benton County, you would need to vote in Benton County, but you don't have to go to your assigned precinct. So that information is there for you to study and use as the election approaches. There are 2 seats up for election. Mr. Ramos is running unopposed, so as long as one person votes for you, so you can vote for yourself. Congratulations. And then Mr. Luttrell's seat is also up for election. There are 2 candidates that have filed, Mr. Clinton Bell and Mr. Edwin Strickland. And so that will be on the ballot as well coming up in March.
And his is zoned, and Mr. Luttrell's
Is at large.
At large.
Correct.
Okay. You said that, I'm sure, but.
I think I skipped that actually, so
probably
thank
wouldn't
you. Do you have any questions about the election as it approaches? And as we get more information, we will pass that on to you. It's earlier than it's ever been, so I think while it feels kind of rushed for you all, the counties are feeling the same way and trying to meet all of their timelines in getting this election
So really,
going.
we have a month and a half,
Correct.
and then it's over, okay.
Since this is during a regular election, is this costing us anything, or?
I don't have an estimate. It will cost us something. I don't have an estimate. I've reached out to both counties to see if they could give me an idea and haven't heard back yet. They have a formula for figuring out what our portion will be based on number of ballots cast and that sort of thing. So it will cost us a portion, but shouldn't be much more than what it would be if it were a standalone election.
Say, I would think it'd be less than.
It may be, right.
Just for us.
Okay. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Rollins. I only have one item tonight, and that is the monthly report of the financials for the month of December. Calling your attention to the revenue report, you can see that we're slightly behind where we were this time last year percentage-wise, and that is mainly because last year they provided us with a student growth payment in the month of December. Typically, it's in January. They got it out early last year, so I've already called them and said, "Where's my money?" And they said it'll be coming this month. So that'll even that up a little bit. And then on the expenditure report, you can see the bottom line is we're really close to where we were this time last year. So everything's looking good. Be happy to answer any specific questions you might have, though. I called them and said, "Where's our money?" Not my money, our money.
I'll make the motion to accept the financials as presented.
Second.
Who got the second in? We have a motion by Mr. Hudson and a second by Mr. Ramos to accept the monthly financials as presented. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we are adjourning. You what? Oh, SEA? I'm sorry.
Lori can't be here, so I'm Loretta Mansell. the SCH treasurer. And Corey apologizes. She is in training tonight. She has to make up some of her roots training. And so she wanted to send me here, and she wrote up something, but I threw it away. We want to thank the school board for all you do, and it is our lovely honor to give you not a plaque and all the other stuff. I missed the video. I missed all the good stuff. Nice paperwork, buddy. Yeah. I have this wonderful Sonic card, and you get one.
That's valuable too.
Now, if you don't know how to use the Sonic, app to get half-price drinks, catch me when you're at Bayari in a couple weeks, because that's where I am, and I will show you how to use it, because you can save half price on all your drinks. She also wanted me to tell you that we got, in the month of December, we were busy. We helped some families, got some cute gifts for some families that really needed it for a school, 2 different families. We also made cookies for some custodians at her house, and then we dropped some off at the bus barn too. And I traveled to Little Rock for the AACC PE thing that we have to do for trying to get these elections figured out. So if you have questions, hopefully later I can help you with those. There's certain agendas that certain people have out there that sound good, like term limits and things like that, but they're not the way they seem. So we're hoping to get the right candidates and endorse the right candidates. And so that's what we're up to. But other than that, we just want to say thank you. And hey, enjoy every bit of that $5, buddy. Yeah. Thank y'all for.
The app is turned to
double.
$10, right?
It's double. Use it. But thanks for all you do. And good night, guys.
Thank you.
Mr. President, just one closing item. There's a letter in front of you. If you'd take a look at that, and we don't have to make that decision this evening, but I would make the request that I have traditionally made over the last 6 years. The National Association of School Superintendents meets in San Diego in February. And I need to use our regular board meeting day as a travel day to get out there to be a part of the national board agenda. I would simply ask that we look at moving our February meeting back 1 week.
I'm going to speak for this end of the room over here. Do y'all have any objections? None.
We're good.
None.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Okay,
Great meeting tonight, board. Thank you.
You bet. We're going to adjourn.
To the 4th or to the 4th? No, to the 18th.
To the 18th. 18th. Yeah. Okay, we are adjourning to executive session.